Sweet Lou Piniella, former Cubs manager, guy that I actually met and spent a little time around when he was the skipper of the Cubs in 2007 and 2008. Had some really good teams. They just didn't get it done in the playoffs. But a lifer of baseball, and he's got a chance to get into the Hall of Fame. We're going to talk about Lou and his chances on the Cubs baseball channel. But before we do, we're looking for some Hall of Famers to join our channel. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell so you know when we're live. And show right now is presented by the Tennessee Smokies. They won the Southern League championship for the first time in 45 years. They've got great Cubs and Smokies gear available at the team store, and you can find it for yourself, smokiesbaseball.com/store. All right, he's Chad Anderson, and I'm Mick Gillespie, and it is a pleasure to have you guys with us on the channel right here to talk about Lou Piniella. And I got to tell you, the prospect of Lou Piniella being in the Hall of Fame, Chad, was something that I wanted to talk about. Basically, the way that it works is that he's on the ballot, Hall of Fame contemporary era ballot. So this isn't players. This is like managers and front office executives, people who spend time around baseball, and umpires that can get in. And Piniella is one of 8 finalists right now to get into the Hall of Fame. So what you probably don't realize, though, is that he was a hair from getting into the Hall of Fame already once in 2018. He came up 1 vote short.
Single vote.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
That is. I was looking too, because you know how you have some stats that are milestones in Major League Baseball? Like if you hit 500 home runs, you're in the Hall of Fame, right? No matter what happened, you're in the Hall of Fame. If you got 3,000 hits, you're in the Hall of Fame. Like some of those things are just automatic clinchers for you. But I started looking at that from a managerial perspective the other day. And when I looked at it, when we were kind of talking about it, and you told me he was up for it again, sent me that, little news clip. Lou Piniella is one of those, like, he's in the top 20 for all-time managerial wins. And he's won a World Series. He won multiple divisions. He never got, like you said, kind of over the hump. It's almost like the Dusty Baker chat that we had, where Dusty did finally grab a ring with the Astros. But for all those great seasons he had, Piniella, that is, he also didn't succeed in the postseason. So is that a blemish? Like, would one more World Series have gotten him that extra vote? He didn't even, though, Mick, win another pennant. Like, he won 1 World Series and 1 pennant, and they were both the same year. He never even won another pennant.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I understand sometimes, like, that's the hesitation. You didn't do anything else. But he's also a top 20 all-time wins list.
Yeah.
Like, does that not get you in? And then but if you look at that list, right, there's one guy that starts to stick out to me as you go down, and it's number 20. I believe he was number 20. I'll pull it back up in a second. But Mike Scioscia.
Yeah.
Like, do you think of Mike Scioscia as a Hall of Fame manager? It doesn't really jump out to me.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, I see where Piniella could be kind of on the verge. But for me, Piniella, it's not just the win-loss and only 1 World Series, only 1 pennant. Lou Piniella has like this reputation and just this aura of him with baseball. Like, everybody knows Sweet Lou.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows Mike Scioscia. And so
Right.
that's where I kind of like give Piniella the edge, just because of his brand and what he's meant to baseball.
You have to admire the way that baseball appreciates longevity. Here's a guy that started managing in 86 won the World Series for the Reds in 90, right? He was the manager. That was honestly, that was Pete Rose's team. You know that. He helped basically build that team and managed it, and then got kicked out of baseball. And then Lou Piniella came in and they won it all. And it's surprising you're right, that he never got another team back to the World Series. He had Ken Griffey Jr. in the Mariners. And remember, the Mariners had 116 wins in 2001. They won the West 3 times, but they couldn't get over the hump. They had to deal with the Yankees.
Yeah.
And, with the Cubs, again, I talked about it. They were one of the best teams in baseball in 2008 and got into the playoffs and just couldn't win. They couldn't score. Alfonso Soriano was no good in the playoffs, was striking out all the time. They didn't do a lot of the little things that it takes to win. Maybe they didn't even get the right luck. They needed a couple of breaks that never happened, but they were great teams to watch. I mean, you talk about just playing one continuous inning of great baseball, which is one to one to the next, to the next, to the next. But got to have success in the postseason, and that team didn't. But this guy, I mean, he actually came up with Baltimore, which I didn't remember that. I think I knew that and I forgot, kind of looking it up. And then he got taken by the Royals in an expansion draft. And I think it was actually, weren't the Royals really the Seattle Pilots?
That's a hell of
maybe
a question.
maybe I'm wrong, but maybe that's the Brewers. Anyway, he got taken out of Baltimore in the expansion draft. And then, was the rookie of the year and an all-star in 72 with Kansas City. And then, went as a player to New York and won World Series in 77 and 78. And so, not only was he just a tremendous manager, but he was also a tremendous player. And I guess that has to really factor in. If you're looking at like people that made a contribution to the game, it's more than just his managerial record, right? The ballot, it's executives, managers, and baseball contributors. So, I mean, I feel like kind of like the manager part and baseball contributor part are both things that are right up his alley. I mean, he's a lifer for sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like when you look back, they're just certain people that you say the name and you just like, that's a baseball guy. And everybody, even for, I want him in just because he deserves it from all the antics that he gave us, the throwing the hat and kicking it around and slinging bases, and he's got the gut and he's bumping umpires with it and looking down at him because he's a pretty tall guy, I believe, right? And just the way he would go and just lose his mind in arguments, it was always entertaining, always kind of part of, like I said earlier, kind of part of his brand. But yeah, I mean, guys like this, to me, they deserve, like you said, Hall of Fame. When you don't hit certain milestones or benchmarks, and for managers, maybe there's not one that's as defined as there are for players and such. But if you're looking at guys who deserve a spotlight in Cooperstown, and guys who, like you said, represent the game, they're lifers. They did so much good for the game, had so many positive things that took place throughout their career. He's up there, and there's no denying it. And I didn't know the one vote short 5 years ago. I didn't realize it was that close, which makes you just wonder even more. Like, man, how did one more person not think Lou Piniella deserved to be in? And maybe I'm missing something there. Didn't hear the argument, but to me, Lou Piniella and Hall of Fame, those two things should be in the same sentence, in my opinion.
Be cool to see him get in. I thought he was a great guy when he was the manager of the Cubs. Old school baseball, brought a lot to the table, and someone that I think he's going to get in this time. But we'll find out. What do you guys think? Would you guys vote him in? I'd vote him in. I'd vote him in on this committee. He'd get my vote.
Yeah.
100%. You give him a vote too. All right. Well, you guys 100%. Tell us what you think. Cubs Baseball Channel. thanks again for being here. And if you're a Hall of Famer, we're looking for you. Even if you're just like a utility guy, we want you to join our roster. It's easy to do. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell, and go Cubs.